Welcome, Nightshade Nation, to Week 7 of the 2026 Premier Ultimate League season. Today's contest will be between the Atlanta Soul and Nashville Nightshade. This is Nightshade's 7th season in the PUL, facing Atlanta for the second time this season. I am Jeremiah Branson, and I am joined today by Jenny Newby.
Hello, Jeremiah.
It is a scorching hot day at West High School in Knoxville, Tennessee. This is the one game a year that Nashville Nightshade plays in Knoxville, as they are sponsored by Knoxville Ultimate. So we're excited to be here in Knoxville today. We're going to have some heat timeouts throughout the game today, and I think that the heat is going to play a big factor playing on turf. And there's very little wind today, which bodes for good Ultimate. But it's going to be quite hot on the turf down there, Jenny.
That's right. And it really is tough on these players on this hot turf. So currently, game time temperature about 84 degrees. But that turf right now, probably cooking at about 95. So they're going to keep an eye on the heat. We've got some extra measures in place to make sure all of our players stay safe and everybody's well hydrated and nice and cool and everybody has a great time.
Absolutely. This is the second time that Nightshade will have played Atlanta this year. The first contest went in favor of Atlanta 22-5. So looking to see for Nightshade if they can continue building over the last couple weeks on strong offensive improvements and more chances at some breaks. For Atlanta, they just want to keep playing the same kind of game that they've been playing. They're 2-1 on the year. Impressive wins over Raleigh and this Nightshade team, of course. Lone loss coming to D.C. a couple of weeks ago. Nightshade 0-4 so far on the year. First two games of the year, big losses. Last two games have been much closer as their offense has sort of started to figure things out. So, Jenny, we got the chance to talk to both coaches ahead of the game. What was some things that Coach Jared Trevor from the Nightshade was telling us about the game plan for today?
So he talked about the change in offense that they've seen over the last 4 games. They've really started to come together, finding more chemistry back in the offensive set. They want to play smart, aggressive offense today. So they're going to try to open up the field with deeper shots. They don't want to get stuck back behind the defense, just passing the disc back and forth among the handlers, which they've done a lot this year with medium success. But they're definitely looking to be more aggressive today. You're going to see them run both a side stack offense and a hoe stack offense, so keep an eye out for that. And really just looking to push the field, widen the field, and move that disc a little better down the field than they had in their first matchup against Seoul.
And for Atlanta, we had the chance to talk to their head coach, Evelina, and she had a couple of notes as well to kind of keep this ball rolling for a season that Atlanta has been very impressive in all of their games. Even the lone loss that they had was close to a very strong DC program. What did Evelina tell us?
That's right. She told us that she's really excited about this year's roster. And they want to be very intentional today about their matchups. So they've done some scouting. They're looking to match up their best players against the biggest threats on the Nightshade line. They're going to throw a few different looks on defense, so keep an eye out for maybe different zone looks. They'll play person defense at some point during the game. And on offense, they're really looking to use the entire field. So they want to go break side early and often. You'll see them swing the disc back and forth, use that entire space, the entire 40-yard space. Actually, slightly different field size than 40 yards in the PUL. But you'll see them stretch it from sideline to sideline.
We are still 40 yards wide in the PUL, but 80 yards long, so a little bit longer than a club field. So we will hopefully see both teams using the full width today. Both of these teams like to shoot it a little bit, so that we should be in for some exciting plays. Some of the key players to keep an eye out for this Nightshade roster: Sarah Mogg, Holly Sillivant, as well as Savannah Sillivant have been kind of the primary offensive firepower for this Nightshade roster. Sarah Mogg will look to shoot it a lot, and then the Sillivants will both be strong cutters downfield who will be making a lot of continue cutters. And then on the defensive side for Nightshade, Rebecca Fagan is ranked highly across all of the PUL in blocks this year. So we will look to see her make an impact on the defensive side of the disc. For this Atlanta Soul roster, there's names up and down the roster, but big one to look out for: Dina Elimelech, Tori Taylor, and Mia Greiner, all big names. Liv Ford as well will be a big shooter for them for their offense. So a lot of big names on both of these rosters, and it looks like we will have Atlanta pulling and will be starting on defense today. So Nightshade will start on offense, and we'll see if they can generate a hold to start this game. Ginny, what's your message kind of as a coach? You know, when you come in with a few losses under your belt and still trying to right the ship, what do you say to your team to kind of get them to focus in the moment?
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of be in that moment and really get focused in on the things that you can control and that you can focus on. So that's when I go back to fundamentals as a coach. As we see the pull go up here.
It is the opening pull of the game. We'll have Savannah Sullivan picking it up, swinging over quickly to Sarah Mogg. Atlanta quickly into a zone look with a lot of poachers in the middle of the field. Looks like they're running a diamond zone.
Yeah, this is their most common zone look here. They run this one a lot.
High pressure early, so we'll see if Nightshade is patient enough to work it down the field and try to find the holes through the defense. Quick turnover there. Rebecca Fagan throwing it over the middle. Atlanta quickly on the break, looking to see if they can get the first break of the game. Quick transition. Layout score.
Great catch.
Paige Carver with the opening break of the game. What a play there and a catch. And there's our first score as Atlanta goes up 1-0 quickly. Unfortunate turnover, trying to shoot it a little far across the middle. That's going to be hard against a zone, Ginny. You want to try not to skip swings and hopefully work it from sideline to sideline through your handlers and resets rather than trying to shoot it across the field. That's where the middle of the zone can really play a big factor in kind of gumming up that open space.
That's right. And we talked to Jared before the game, their coach, the Nightshade coach, and he said that their priority in attacking against this zone defense was to look for inside shots, so try to get those gaps in between the defenders in the zone, and then look to swing the disc from side to side, and then as a last resort, if those don't work, trying to throw over the top here. Again, not a lot of wind today, so that may be an option if the downfield cutters can find the open space and be in that open space.
Absolutely, might be able to look to stretch it deep a little bit more. So we'll see Atlanta coming out on defense again, and we'll see the 0-2 line from Nightshade here, see if they can punch in a hold to tie this game up. Deep pull. We'll see the centering pass up to Annette Gross. She goes by Noodle. Looking to the middle of the field to Catherine Gilbert. Quick movement here from Nashville. Deep shot going up. Tori Taylor running deep. Boxes out her defender well and scores. What a deep throw and catch. And excuse me, I believe that is Bree Snipes with the goal. Bree Snipes with the deep catch. And what a throw there from Noodle. About a 55-yard throw out into space, and Bree did a phenomenal job boxing out her defender to catch that goal to tie this up 1-1. Much improved offense there, Ginny, from the Nightshade.
And that's exactly what they want to see. They want to see those aggressive deep shots to try to spread out that defense.
And for the handler movement, they did a really good job of bouncing it out quickly, getting up to get that reset, and then continuing the disc before the mark. Really had a chance to set. Ginny, when you have a defense that's throwing kind of multiple looks at you, what are you saying to your offense, knowing that it could be really anything them coming down in? So how do you kind of keep them patient but also aggressive?
I think the key there is just to trust your teammates, right? You know your teammates are going to be where they need to be, when they need to be there. Be quick, but not in a hurry. We're not going to rush throws. We're just going to wait for open looks.
So we'll get our first look at the Atlanta O-line. They sent her to Quincy Booth, a name that we will say many times today. Our mark falls down, but back up now. Inside throw up to Dina Elimelech. Takes a look downfield, but decides not to. Swings it back to Quincy Booth on the reset. Nashville going with a flat mark in the middle of the field here, trying to force Atlanta to the sidelines. Swing down to Dina Elimelech. Up to, pops up over Mia Greiner. The D for Catherine Gilbert. Nightshade with a chance to break back to get this game back on serve. Gilbert looking downfield, swings it over to Holmes. Holmes now up the middle of the field. Up to Stacey Lou. Stacey Lou swings it to Noelle Holmes. Makes a great grab to save the possession. Upline throw. Oh, and an unfortunate bobble from Stacey Lou there. Atlanta will pick it back up, back on offense, and they're moving quickly. They have the numbers. They have a 3-on-1 transition here.
Nightshade's going to have to catch up quick
Trying
here.
to recover. Shot to the end zone and the hold for Atlanta. See if we can get a number there.
Our apologies from up here in the booth. The jerseys are sometimes a little difficult to read the numbers on. We're doing our best.
I believe that was number 16, Ellie Thompson, with her first goal of the game.
So that first possession, the Nightshade defense did a great job of cutting off those downfield looks, forcing the handlers to work it back and forth, putting a lot of pressure when the throws downfield finally go up, and that got them that first turn. But they're going to have to be quick on that transition if they're going to stop Atlanta.
It's true. As soon as you turn the disc over, you immediately have to flip back to try and recover on the defensive side of things. But Atlanta, good job there on the transition offense on the turn to take advantage of the slow defenders from Nashville. So we'll get a good look now at the Nashville O-line, the original O-line coming back onto the field. As the pull goes up, a deep pull from Charlotte Doran. Sails just out of bounds, so we will see this pull come in at the brick. Our score 2-1. Looks like Atlanta will be back in their zone look. Nashville's going to have to swing the disc and then look to open up shots down the field. Immediately we get a swing down to Holly Sullivan. Looking downfield, swings back to Sarah Mogg. Atlanta doing a really good job gumming up the middle of the field here. Jenny, it looks like a cut, but I think that the motive for the Atlanta D-line here is they want you to swing it wide, keeping all their players sort of in the middle of the field, and then once you get to that sideline, challenging you to try and force something up the field.
Absolutely. Definitely trying to use that sideline as another defender.
I mean, just in this space on the low side, there are 4 Atlanta defenders to Nashville's 2 offensive players. Nashville now doing a good job resetting it, staying patient. A swing over to Holly Sullivan, who continues it up to Grace Robinson. Some good handler movement between Holly and Grace. They are a great throw through the middle to Asta Thurman. See if Nashville can get out ahead of the defense here as Atlanta falls into man defense. Oh, and an unfortunate drop from Savannah Sullivan there. Deep shot going up. Tori Taylor looking deep. And a great D from Asta Thurman, who recovers nicely on the deep shot.
Very heads-up play.
Great transition defense there. Tori Taylor, former Nashville Nightshade player. Not her first season with Atlanta Soul. She formerly played on the Soul a few years ago, but has been on Nashville for the last few years. Interesting to see her kind of in new colors this season.
That's right. Certainly, Nightshade fans miss seeing her in the purple.
They do. Savannah Sullivan, swings over to Sarah Mogg, up to Holly Sullivan. Nashville trying to stay patient with their handler swings. Atlanta back into their zone D. Really challenging these handlers for Nashville. A big swing up the field. Continue to Holly Sullivan. Nashville now getting ahead of this defense. Up to Anna Lee. Makes a great diving grab. From Rebecca Fagan now with the disc. Up line to Savannah Sullivan. Into the red zone now goes Nightshade. A travel call puts her 2 yards back. Through contact is a great up line from Sarah Mogg. Looking to the end zone now. Up line.
Oh,
just overthrows her receiver, but I believe we have a call on the field. Looks like an injury. Rebecca Fagan will sub off the field here. And the disc is going to come back. That's a fortunate series of events for Nashville there. They did have the turnover, but it looks like the call was before the throwaway. So we will get the disc back into Sarah Mogg's hands as both teams make substitutions here.
And Nightshade doing a great job of moving the disc down the field, but they've got to be patient here in the end zone. Wait for your open looks. Swing the disc if you need.
Don't want to force anything in. A miscommunication in the backfield, but the disc hangs up just enough for Grace Robinson to track it down. Swings down to the far side now. Holly Sullivan looking to the end zone. An around break and a fantastic poach block there from the Atlanta defense. Atlanta now looking to move quickly up the field. A block from Marie Perivier. As Atlanta now quickly on the counterattack. Nashville trying to recover up to Tori Taylor. Tori now looking to the end zone again, and she overthrows her receiver. Another block for this Nashville O-line, getting back possession. Second turnover this point for Tori Taylor. Big swing down here. Savannah Sullivan looking upfield. Nice toes on the sideline for Anna Lee. Anna Lee going to shoot. Foul call on the mark. Looks like it will not be contested. Disc will return to the hands of Anna Lee as we'll have the third look here for a score for the Nashville O-line. Jenny, a fantastic job on this point of getting the disc back after 2 offensive possessions where they quickly got broken. They're trying hard on defense now on a turn.
That's right. And Nightshade, most of their mistakes have just been bobbles, easy to clean up.
Physical defense in the reset space from Atlanta. And an overthrow there, looking for Sarah Mogg, runs high. And a timeout call from Atlanta. They'll look to make some substitutions to get their O-line on the field.
Quick reminder, in the PUL, you can sub out on timeouts. So you can bring in an entire new 7 if you want. So you'll see some personnel changes here as they make the transition to offense.
That was Danny Ortiz on the D there. We'll have our first timeout of the game. With our first timeout, want to bring you to one of our sponsors. The Discraft Ultra Star is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. We love a good Discraft.
Sure do. I think we're seeing both teams here kind of coming out maybe a little excited. We've seen some overthrows. I think both teams kind of maybe starting to settle down into their offense here, but certainly some...
In the break, playing give in the break, playing give-go with Elimelech. Elimelech now going downfield, but the shot goes up. I believe that is Hawkins with a goal.
A great left hand, well, Quincy's a lefty. Great shot there, that lefty backhand on the line. Sorry, lefty flick down the line.
It is Claire Hawkins with the goal, and Atlanta punches in the break to go up 3-1. A very strong offensive possession there for Atlanta coming out of the timeout. The initial play call up to Dina Elimelech, and then they just worked it from there, doing a really good job going side to side to open up shots downfield.
That's right, and Atlanta's using everybody on their roster. Everybody on the field is engaged, touching the disc, moving well, drawing the defense out of the play. You're seeing 7 people working really well together on the Atlanta offensive line.
Nashville going to have some sort of adjustment on their marks or on their handler defense as the give-go there really hurt them once they got into the red zone. Atlanta doing a fantastic job taking advantage of open uplines, and then when those got taken away, hitting nice swings. So we love to see that movement. We will now enter into a heat timeout. So every 4 points or so in this game, we will have an extended break after points so that teams can hydrate a little bit more and get some shade due to our high temperatures here today. Would love to take the chance to do another ad here. Breakmark. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the Premier Ultimate League Athlete Collab shops.
The Atlanta Soul today kind of missing a few members of their roster who've been impact players for them earlier in the season. A couple of their team who play in Colombia, who fly up to Atlanta and fly to their away games, not in town today. So we're seeing a little bit different look. Some of their big throwers, big pullers, not present today. So giving few people a chance to work into positions they're not usually playing.
And we're about halfway through the season this year, Jenny, and you know Atlanta is 2-1. Their last 2 seasons they went 3-3, but their roster this year and the games that they've played have been much improved over years past. A very impressive win over Raleigh earlier this year, and so in talking to their coach, you know, she was telling us how excited she was about this roster and just the way that they've come together this year. But they're also not an entirely young or old roster. They have a really nice mix of players this year that are both right out of college and also up to master's level players who've played in this program for a long time. So really just seeing it all kind of come together well this year for Atlanta.
And that's so important as a player to be able to have that veteran experience on the field, but also to have that youthful energy on the field, right? It's such a great balance, and I love to see a team like that.
And I think that's something that Nightshade has missed over the last couple of years. You know, they've had a lot of roster turnover over the last handful of years. That this year, no different. I think about half of this squad are rookies to the Premier Ultimate League, and they've played very well. They've had, you know, the last 2 games, as we mentioned, some closer scores, and the offense finally starting to click a little bit and increase that hold rate. So, you know, you hope going into the end of this year and then into next year that a lot of these players can stay and really try to build up the program for Nightshade. We'll see Nashville coming out on O now after the Atlanta break. Score is 3-1, 5 minutes left in our first quarter here. Fans continuing to heckle this Atlanta defense, attempting to boost up the Nightshade O-line. A good crowd on hand here today in Knoxville. The Knoxville Ultimate community showing out despite the heat. In classic Ultimate fashion, everybody about 5 minutes late today.
That's right. A lot of youth players here, too, from our growing high school scene. Coming out to watch the professionals.
So we'll see the pull here. Nashville on offense. A good pull, corralled and centered up to Sarah Mogg. Quickly up the field, a nice grab by Anna Lee. Looking deep, decides better of it. Grace Robinson now in the middle of the field. Nightshade quickly gaining yards. Up to Tori Taylor, a nice snag by her there as well.
Tori Radcliffe.
Tori Radcliffe, the multiple Tories here today. Down to Savannah Sullivan now. Up to Holly Sullivan, looking downfield, resets it back to Savannah. A nice high release backhand there, up the field to Anna Lee, who makes a great reaching catch, and she throws a high release of her own. A diving catch attempt from Sarah Mogg just out of her reach. A great effort there, but it will be Atlanta's ball coming in on the corner. Nashville back on defense, and Atlanta looking for another break. A nice poach in the lane for the D there. Swing down now. Atlanta stuck in their end zone looking for a shot. Swings down now. Number 26, Chloe Green with the disc. Looking for her options. A big upfield throw there now. Anna Gustafson swings up the field. And there's a pick call. I believe this disc will be returned to Morgan Lally.
Seoul doing a great job finding those gaps, waiting for those open looks.
So a pick call returns the disc to Lally. Lally looking downfield. Hits a nice inside throw to Liv Ford. Liv Ford looking to throw a deep flick, but opts not to. Looking for a reset. Gets it down now. Back to Morgan Lally's hands. Another nice inside shot. Atlanta with numbers, and they're going to look for the end zone, and she will be in. That is number 3, Dana Bideau, with her first goal of the afternoon, and another Atlanta break to go up 4-1. Beautiful transition offense from there, from Atlanta there. Super patient, and then eventually looking for the right shot across the middle.
Yeah, so far we haven't seen a lot of big shots out of Atlanta. They're just moving the disc well through the middle, finding those continuation looks. Really great flow from their offense.
And despite the turnover, that was a good offensive possession from Nightshade. They did a good job working it down the field, but a better job from the Atlanta defense to sort of bend and not break there. So we'll see the 0-2 line come out for Nightshade. Atlanta doing a really good job of applying different pressure looks, and Nightshade struggling to sort of adjust to those throughout the course of the point.
We'll see if Atlanta comes out in that same zone look here again.
This is the line that has been doing it. Pull goes up. Charlotte Doran on the pull. Gross looking for her options downfield. Centers up to Catherine Gilbert. Gilbert swings down. Atlanta is back in their junk zone now. A nice shot up the middle. Bree snipes with it now in the middle of the field. Swings back over to Noodle. Noodle shooting deep. A bust in coverage, and Bree Snipes catches it downfield. Nashville now with numbers. Swings up to Catherine Gilbert in the middle of the field. Nashville in the red zone now. Looking for her options. Catherine Gilbert, stall count getting high. Out to Noodle. Noodle now looking for options. We have a call, I believe a pick call downfield. Multiple cutters from Nashville getting in each other's way there in the end zone. Noodle with the disc now. We reset play. A throw up over the middle, and there was a timeout call before the throw goes up. Could not have come at a better time for Nashville. Head coach Jared Trevor making that timeout call right before that throw.
It's a great coach's intuition there.
So we'll have a timeout here. We'll see if either team makes line adjustments here or if they just come out and run a red zone play.
That's great movement by Nightshade there. Really, that big cut by number 23, Brianna Snipes, really opened up the field there. And that's one of the big players that the Seoul coach was talking about, having to be very intentional about matchups, right? Snipes is a speedster, one of the ones that they definitely want to put one of their better defenders on. It looked like a little miscommunication there between the defenders that allowed Brianna to get wide open.
And speaking of speedsters, that was a note that Jared Trevor had for us today, is we want to try to match our speedsters to their speedsters. You know, there's Atlanta is a very skillful team. They will play very fundamental Frisbee. And so his note for that was, when we're on offense, we're going to try to outrun them. And when we're on defense, we're just going to try to wear them out as best we can with our fast players. So we'll see throughout the course of the game how the legs look for both teams. It'll be Grace Robinson picking up the disc. It is a new line out there for Nashville, for both teams actually. A lot of open space here. Grace Robinson looking for a swing, gets it down to Savannah Sullivan. Sarah Mogg cutting to the front end zone. Kona, nice bid from the defender, but Sarah Mogg with the goal and the hold for Nashville Nightshade. And the Space Force connection from Savannah Sullivan to Sarah Mogg for Nightshade's second goal of the afternoon. A great bid from the Atlanta defender there.
And that's exactly what you want to see out of your offense. After you call a timeout, you get set, you want to run your play. You want to be as efficient as possible in that red zone. Excellent work by the Nightshade on that point.
Some very fun hats worn by this Atlanta team, I'm noticing. Ginny, we have a couple sun hats today. I hope,
that's
as
right.
hot as it is, I feel like I need one. I need one too.
And we're very grateful for that. It makes them very easy to identify from up here in
That's
the
true.
booth.
That's absolutely correct. Nashville, we will get our second look at a D-line for them this afternoon. We'll see if they're able to apply some significant pressure to this Atlanta O-line. PUL goes up.
Here we go.
Atlanta coming out on offense. We'll center up to Quincy Booth. Booth looking downfield, finds her receiver in Marie Perivier. Perivier having been an original product of Atlanta and then up to D.C. for a little while, but now back in the Atlanta scene. It's nice to see her back in the pink and light blue. She has the disc now looking upfield. A nice around throw to Dana Elimelech, who finds Quincy Booth in the end zone. The Atlanta O-line carving up the defense up the field there. Ginny, they did a beautiful job going sideline to sideline on that point and really using the full 40 yards.
They did. Atlanta loves to attack the break side. You'll see them try to attack that break side early, and just like that, looking for continuation throws up the field. That was a perfect example.
Quincy Booth, normally a handler, gets downfield that time for a nice deep cut. Nice throw from Elimelech. Probably, I have a feeling, Ginny, we're going to be saying those two names a lot this afternoon.
Absolutely. Quincy headed to college nationals next weekend with UGA Athena. Good luck to Athena.
We wish them the best of luck. Big fans of Southeast College Ultimate here.
That's right.
Both of these pro teams come from states with a lot of Southeast women's programs. A lot of those programs represented in this game as well.
That's right. And we talked about the different players on the two teams. You know, Atlanta, Knoxville, Nashville, only about 3 hours apart. And so we see a lot of people who come and go between those different communities.
Centered up to Holly Sullivan now. Nightshade with a nice swing. Rebecca Fagan with the disc. Near sideline, looking downfield. Some big fakes. Takes a shot to Grace Robinson, who makes a nice one-handed snag. Looking deep. Does not have the receiver. Another upline to Rebecca Fagan. Fagan now looking downfield. Hits the upline to Grace Robinson and cuts upline herself. Swing comes down to Sarah Mogg now, looking break side. A nice inside shot to Holly Sullivan. She has her first goal of the afternoon. A great offensive possession for Nightshade there, and a lovely inside throw from Sarah Mogg.
That's a great handler motion there, working that disc up, getting off that swing, and then working that break side for that open look. Nightshade's offense really starting to gel, it seems like.
A lovely offensive possession there for the Nashville O-line. And a clean hold. I believe that's their first clean hold of the game.
Got about 1 minute left in the first quarter. And just as a reminder, the end of the quarter, every quarter now in the PUL ends with the possession. So the clock will run out. Whichever team possesses the disc will be able to finish that possession, whether it ends in a goal or a turnover, and then the quarter will end. And that is true of every quarter. They've done away with the buzzer beater rules this year.
Unfortunately, I liked the buzzer beaters. It provides excitement.
I also love the drama of the buzzer beater, but as coaches explained to us, the rule change does allow for more consistency, not having to remember which quarter we're in and how it ends. So do appreciate the consistency there, but we love the drama.
Atlanta on offense now, centered up to Quincy Booth. Still plenty of drama opportunity left in this game. 5-3 our score. Atlanta working quickly now, already past half field. Up to Ella Melick. Hits the up line. Atlanta swings near side now to an uncovered offensive player. I believe that was Ellie Thompson. Thompson up to Hawkins now. Hawkins looking for a reset. Finds it in Tori Taylor on an upline, but just overthrows. And a diving catch to save possession. Looking to the end zone now. Hits a reset down to Hawkins. Hawkins looking to the end zone. Mia Greiner with an unbelievable layout grab to save possession. And then another diving attempt goes just far. Tori Taylor just overshoots Claire Hawkins in the end zone. A great look there. But we will see a chance for a Nashville break, as I believe there's an injury timeout. So assuming nothing crazy happening, this will be the last possession of the quarter. We will have roughly 6 seconds here. It'll be Noelle Holmes bringing the disc up. No matter if the clock runs out or not, it will be to the end of the possession. A nice catch there from Bree Snipes in the middle of the field. Clock has expired. This will be the last possession. And Mia Greiner gets the D to end the quarter. And at the end of our first quarter, score is 5-3 Atlanta. Jenny, what are some key moments from both of the teams there in that first quarter?
I think Atlanta moving the disc very well, being very aggressive on offense, finding those gaps, and especially on those turns, the transition from defense to offense, really taking advantage of those fast break opportunities. I think for Nashville, you got to be pretty happy with this score right now. The few early mistakes resulted in some breaks for Atlanta, but they're in this game, and their offense is really starting to gel, really starting to come together. So I think both teams have got to be feeling pretty good about this first quarter.
Absolutely. You know, a couple key mistakes from Nashville there that led to them not being able to get a couple of holds, but they bounced back really well. Transition defense much improved after the first quarter, couple of points. So 5-3 our score. For Atlanta, you have to love 5 points on the board in the first quarter, all scored by 5 different players. So 5 goals by 5 different players in that first quarter. That bodes really well to have a balanced offense.
That's right, and that's one of the things that Coach Evelina Pierce talked about before the game is the diversity on this roster and the depth on this roster. Everybody on this team contributes. And you definitely see that out there on offense.
They certainly do. For Nashville offense, Sarah Mogg, Savannah Sullivan, and Holly Sullivan doing most of the primary touches there. Doing a good job working it side to side. We'll see if they can connect with their cutters downfield a little bit more in this second quarter. We will have a bit of an extended break between quarters here. Again, high temperatures in Knoxville today, and even hotter on the turf. For Nashville, those last two offensive possessions, really good job working their way downfield. We'll see if Atlanta comes back out in that zone look that was very effective in at least contributing to a few turnovers for Nashville. They did a good job, not necessarily always getting the block, but at least forcing tough throws that led to either throwaways or blocks for Atlanta.
That's right. And on the other side, Nashville playing great defense downfield. So Atlanta not getting a ton of deep looks, not getting quick looks right off the bat, and most of their success has been to the break side. So downfield defense looking pretty good for Nashville.
Atlanta not with too many hucks yet in this game. They've honestly just worked it down the field, done a really good job. Quincy Booth, Dana Elamelik doing a good job of kind of being the primary touchers. Dana coming from downfield as the initiation cutter, and then she's done a really good job of hitting the continuation throw to cutting downfield. So their timing and their spacing have been really impressive as they have just sort of worked it downfield. So we'll see if Nashville kind of tightens up on that. That might open up the deep space a little more for them. And then for the Nashville offense, have had a couple looks downfield, but we really haven't seen either team testing the deep space too much in this game. We'll see if that opens up for them throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, when we talked to their coach before the game, he mentioned that one of the strengths of this roster was that they had so many hybrid players on the offensive line. So people who can cut and who can handle. And so you'll see a lot of opportunity for people to move from the cutter or from the handler space, cutting deep, and coming, cutters coming back in to fill for the handler reset. It opens up movement on the field and really creates those great downfield opportunities when you have so many players who can transition between the handler and cutter space so well.
So we'll see what adjustments our two coaches make for our teams here.
Both of those teams trying to huddle under the tent, get whatever shade they can get out of this few minutes in between quarters.
I think they may have needed a second tent for both teams there. They're tucked in there like sardines, pretty good. One of our sponsors for Nashville Nightshade this year is Knoxville Ultimate. They are a sponsor of Nashville Nightshade for the third year, which helps put on clinics for our local community here in Knoxville, as well as provide one game per season of Nashville here in Knoxville. And we love hosting this game, Jenny. It's a lot of fun for our community to come out and see the Knoxville players that travel over and play on the Nightshade roster year over year.
That's great. And we love this partnership so much with the Nashville Nightshade and with the PUL, really to bring opportunities here into Knoxville and an opportunity for us to encourage our players to go out and play in different communities, to play professionally or to play for advanced club teams. It's partnerships like this that really make those opportunities happen.
Absolutely. And, Tennessee is in an interesting spot in terms of Ultimate. We have a lot of cities that have their own local communities, but there's no really Nashville, obviously the biggest city in Tennessee, and it is continuing to get bigger. But in terms of Ultimate population, we have a lot of similar sized communities throughout the state. And I would love to see us continue to kind of come together as like Tennessee Frisbee. So I feel like Nashville Nightshade is a big part of that with a lot of players coming from all across the state. It is Nashville's team, but we are really well represented across the whole state in terms of roster and geographical location on the roster. So
that's right. And a few players from outside the state. We've got a contingent from Huntsville, Alabama, some folks from North Carolina. There's even a player who flies in all the way from Colorado. So kind of sometimes sort of a disadvantage there geographically, not a lot of opportunities for everybody to get together and play together consistently all the time. So one of the things that the Nightshade sort of has to overcome is creating those opportunities and getting those practice weekends in to try to build that chemistry together for people who don't live geographically that close.
Hard to develop chemistry, especially in practices and things when you have less practice time. The pull from Nashville. Chandler Shelton, that player flying in from Colorado that we mentioned. Went to college in Tennessee, University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. She'll be on the mark now. Nice pressure defense from Nashville, but the swing and the deep shot going up. A miscommunication with the receiver just overthrows her receiver downfield. Nashville now looking for a quick break to start this second half. Martha Wilbur on the attempted huck for Atlanta. Nashville now shooting deep. A wide open Bree Snipes catches it. Nashville now on the transition. Kate McAfee looking to the end zone. Bree Snipes tracks it down.
Grab.
And a break for Nightshade to start the second quarter. What a defensive possession, a defensive offensive possession for the Nashville D-line. And they get the break to bring the score within 1, 5-4.
That's 2 big throws from McAfee down the field to Snipes, and the second one into the end zone for a goal. Brandon Snipes out of Mississippi, currently lives in Tennessee. And Kate McAfee, partial, sort of local, plays for the University of Tennessee right here in Knoxville.
Yes, she does. Who's her college coach, Jenny?
Oh, great question. That would be me, a proud coach.
What a job you've done. 2 great throws there.
I can't take credit for all that.
2 great throws there from McAfee, and Nashville gets the break. We'll see if they can repeat that success on this point here. A few players staying on the O-line for Atlanta, but a mostly new offense. Score 5-4 Atlanta. The pull goes up, and it'll be a good pull down the field. Centers up to Caitlin Aycock. Aycock looking down the field, gets an around throw. Out of bounds is the call, and it is a turnover. So Nashville now picking it up. It'll be Kate McAfee again with the disc, and she's going to shoot it again. Gets over the defender, Catherine Gilbert on the goal line, looking for her receiver. Finds it in Chandler Shelton. Shelton now shoots to the end zone. A layout catch! What a goal! And back-to-back breaks for Nashville Nightshade. What a catch. I believe that is Leah Shorbs on the diving catch. Leah Shorb catches the break, and we are all tied up 5-5.
Nashville came out for the second quarter absolutely fired up.
I don't know what was said in that 7x7 shade tent, Jenny, but Nashville has all of the momentum right now. Back-to-back breaks for the Nashville D-line. They'll leave some of those players still on the field, seeing if they can continue this success.
And some big shots downfield, really opening things up for the Nightshade.
Kate McAfee feeling herself in the deep space with these hucks. And it has opened up the defensive transition on offense for Nashville. Atlanta now back with their original O-line on the field. We'll see if they're able to stop the bleeding here. Still up a break is Atlanta with a score of 5-5. As the pull goes up, Atlanta going to center up to Quincy Booth again. Booth looking downfield. A poach in the lane from the Nashville defense. Throw goes out of it up to Mia Griner. Griner now looking downfield. Nashville in a very poachy junk look as well here. Atlanta trying to stay patient and hitting swings. Nashville doing a good job of staying in the middle. A throw up the field to a wide open cutter up to Tori Taylor. Atlanta now going quickly downfield. Martha Wilbur up to Tori Taylor. Taylor over to Claire Hawkins. Hawkins looking downfield, finds her receiver, and Elimelech on the goal line. A lefty up the field, finds her receiver in Claire Hawkins. Hawkins, her second goal of the afternoon. A cheeky throw there from Dina Elimelech to take the lead, 6-5. Nashville doing a good job applying some pressure in the backfield there. A different look than we've seen from them so far on defense.
That's right. And they were a little slow to come out of that zone, too. They wanted to stay in it as far down the field as they could.
Nashville will be back on offense. 9:45 left in the second quarter. A chant of hammer pull coming from the crowd. I would be shocked if the Atlanta D-line listens. Give the crowd credit for trying, though. We would love to see a hammer pull.
We love their enthusiasm.
We do not get the begged for hammer pull. Instead, Marie Privier throws a backhand that will sail out of bounds. Perhaps should have been a hammer. Nashville will take it on the brick. It'll be Sarah Mogg tapping it in. Atlanta already looking like they will be in their junk diamond zone. Nashville quickly falling out of the side stack that they were attempting to be in. Three handlers back. Quickly finds Rebecca Fagan in the middle of the field. Her hand now taped up from her prior injury. Glad to see her back on the field. Holly Sullivan with a nice catch. Wind picking up a little bit here, making the disc bounce. Lots of fakes from Holly, but unable to find a downfield receiver. Swings it to Fagan. Fagan to the middle. An unfortunate drop from Savannah Sullivan. Danny Ortiz quickly picking it up and moving the disc. Up to Marie Privier, surveying options downfield. Finds her receiver. Top of the field, Allison Murphy. Murphy back to Marie Privier. Privier swings wide. Danny Ortiz. Ortiz looking at the end zone. Big fake. Doesn't have her receiver. Privier quarterbacking now in the middle of the field. Atlanta into red zone. A tipped pass. What a layout catch! What a catch off the tipped pass.
What a heads-up
from
play.
The Atlanta receiver. My goodness, it looked like it was going to be tipped away and a drop. And what a layout catch there for Atlanta. I couldn't get a name, unfortunately, on the receiver. I believe that was Marie Privier after quarterbacking the entire end zone possession. I think that she was the one that cleaned up the possession. I'm not positive on that, though. Might have been Allison Murphy as well. It was hard to see from our vantage point. I believe it was. Number 7, Allison Murphy, with the highlight of the game so far off the tipped pass.
And just a heads-up play. She was not the intended receiver there, but always paying attention and was able to scoop that one up.
Such a great play to get the break for Atlanta. It is 7-5. My goodness, we've already seen just through a quarter and a half, Jenny, some highlight plays. Pull goes up. Crowd continues to beg for a hammer pull.
Well, if we thought the hot turf was going to keep people from putting their body on the line, we were wrong.
Nashville moving quickly now. Number 10, Mary Otten, her first touch of the afternoon. A wide swing to Noelle Holmes, makes a nice grab on the sideline. Atlanta doing a different zone look here, a more traditional three-person cup. And it works. A big swing overthrow from Nashville. Atlanta looking for their second break in a row. A game of runs so far. Atlanta looking downfield. Number 26, Chloe Green, up to Dana Bedeau. Bedeau working with Liv Ford in the backfield. Ford throwing the break backhand a little high. And again, Atlanta has a coverage receiver over the top to help. And Atlanta breaks again. That goal that time scored by number 23, Caitlin Aycock, her first goal of the afternoon. And Atlanta breaks again. So, Jenny, after a 5-3 score, Nashville comes out and breaks twice to tie us at 5, and then just like that, it's an 8-5 game as Atlanta holds, and then goes break to go back up 3.
That's right. We'll see if this Nashville O-line can get out here and stop the Atlanta momentum, get things back under control.
And I think if you're the coach so far in this game, your message is just like, hey, it's a game of runs, right? We need to, as soon as we take a punch, we need to be able to punch back. Nashville so far has done that. We'll see if they're able to punch back. Atlanta also doing a really nice job after going up early and then subduing Nashville's run there. 7:50 left in our second quarter. Score 8-5. It'll be Ella Mellick on the pull, crossing over to the D-line. for Atlanta. It is a deep pull. A great pull, almost the full length of the field that will be centered up to Sarah Mogg. Nashville in a traditional host stack here. Atlanta will be back in their junk zone. Sarah Mogg with the disc, swings back to Savannah Sullivan, trying to get off the sideline, unable to do so. A high release pass caught by Holly Sullivan, up the field to Asta Thurman, continues up to Grace Robinson, looking deep, opts not to, but Nashville now out ahead of the Atlanta defense, and Atlanta crumbling into a person defense. A big swing up, and a D from Tori Taylor. Taylor looking downfield now. Atlanta with the numbers. Up to Quincy Booth, also crossing over to the D-line. Booth looking downfield. Swings up to Martha Wilbur. Wilbur up to Claire Hawkins, who makes the bobbling catch. Takes a couple steps back. She's looking for the around backhand, and a high release throw up is just a little too far for the receiver. Looking for Wilbur in the end zone, just overshoots.
And not too much of a breeze here today, but just enough to, when you put that disc up on its edge, it's going to act a little unpredictable.
It had just enough to get out in front of Wilbur, unable to track it down. It'll be Sarah Mogg tapping the disc in on the cone. Atlanta resetting back into their zone look. A tipped pass on the reset, but Savannah Sullivan able to make a diving catch. Her and Smog working in the end zone. Dangerous territory here. A nice throw upfield to Rebecca Fagan. Takes a pump fake. Decides to throw it this time. Has two receivers in the area and a defender. And a great D, but a catch. A double catch from Grace Robinson and Asta Thurman. Both of them there. Robinson now in the red zone. Over to Anna Lee. Anna Lee tries the around throw. And a great block from Tori Taylor. Her second of the point. Tori Taylor with a fantastic block in the end zone. Nightshade so close to getting that hold and unable to punch it in. It'll be Quincy Booth walking it up now. Booth looking downfield. Quickly finds an under. It's Wilbur again. Wilbur up to Tori Taylor. Taylor to Ella Mellick. She's going to shoot it deep. Has a deep receiver. Toes the line. In is the call, and that is a goal. Ellie Thompson. Out is now the call. The other observer stepping in and overruling the call. The call is out. Nashville quickly picking it up and going. Grace Robinson to the middle of the field. Asta Thurman now. Thurman looking downfield. I'd love to see another replay of that catch on the sideline. Tori Taylor, her third block of the point. Tori Taylor's defense is all over this game. And Atlanta calls a timeout to sub on the O-line. They will have their fourth look at a goal, all because of Tori Taylor, the former Nightshade player. My goodness, Jenny, what a back and forth point this has been.
Just amazing plays on both ends, but nobody able to punch it into the end zone quite yet.
We will take a second now. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you continue donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today.
Both teams getting some great looks downfield, getting huge chunks of yardage, but neither team able to punch it into the end zone. We'll see if Atlanta's O-line can get the job done.
And we will take a 10-second ad break right now. We are back. Atlanta looking to punch in another break. Coming out of a traditional vert stack. A big around swing. Number 26, Chloe Green. A nice inside throw, and what a catch from Elimelech on the goal line up to Liv Ford. Ford not quite in the end zone yet, about a yard and a half out, and she hits it back to Elimelech for a goal.
Great movement there in the end zone.
I believe Elimelech's first goal of the afternoon, despite all the touches that she has had. Another break for Atlanta, and it is 9-5 our score. A great job by the Atlanta O-line there to punch in the break after the timeout. I believe we have another heat timeout. Both teams going to head to the shade tents. I would love another look, Ginny, at that deep throw from Atlanta. It looked like the receiver was able to toe the line, but the other observer ruling out.
Yeah, the receiver further back, but with a view straight down the line, called it out. So sometimes it's not even who's closest, it's who's got the best look at it.
The classic ultimate question, who has the best perspective?
That's right.
A hot topic in all ultimate games.
The answer, me, up in the booth.
Are you coming to me? Are you coming to me? I didn't see it. So 9-5 our score. A game of runs so far. Atlanta jumped out to a 5-3 lead at the end of the first quarter. Nashville punching right back to tie it at 5-5. And now Atlanta for the second half of the second quarter on a run of their own. A 4-0 run here.
I think the key here for Nashville is not to get rattled, right? To come out and play your game. You've got a strategy. The strategy has been working. A few tough points that you've given up, but no need to panic, right? We come out, run the offense, do our thing. On the other side, Atlanta, the pressure to keep that foot down to the pedal. Clearly, their defense here putting a lot of pressure on Nashville and forcing some turns. Tori Taylor with a great defensive point.
3 blocks in that 1 point alone. I don't know that I've ever had 3 blocks in an entire game, ever. Maybe a league game.
That's right. And if they can keep up that pressure, they're creating those opportunities for their offense. So great work by Atlanta. But both teams here still got a lot of game to play.
And we love to see clearly the ratcheting up of the pressure, both from both defenses, but also both offenses have sort of settled into their rhythm, which then brings out the better defense of having to apply more pressure and kind of take your chances on more blocks, which has been really cool to see from the Atlanta D-line. We'll see if Nashville's D-line is able to match that when they get the chance to be back on the field. But it will be Nashville coming out on offense to see if they're able to stop the bleeding. 4:22 left in our second quarter. We'll see if Atlanta comes down in person or if they will be back in their junk zone look. The junk zone has been very effective, Jenny, just in forcing Nashville to be patient. Nashville doing a good job of finding their resets, but being a little disconnected from their receivers downfield until they're able to get that throw through the middle that's kind of opened it up. But that Atlanta junk zone doing a really good job of just stopping the pull play from Nashville and then forcing them to sort of go to plan B and C.
That's right. We've seen a few times where Nashville's come out looking for a side stack or a particular cut off of the host stack offense, and the zone has just completely shut it down. We have seen some better handler chemistry, though, from the Nashville offensive line, able to move the disc back and forth, really use the full width of the field while those cutters downfield get open and create that space from their defenders. So that's encouraging to see.
So we'll see what play Coach Jared Trevor drew up for the offense. Big pull from Marie Privier. Will roll down to the side. It'll be Savannah Sullivan picking it up right on the sideline immediately with 2 defenders in her space. And a nice inside throw up to Rebecca Fagan. Takes a look downfield. Thinks better of it. Atlanta in a flat mark with a lane poach now. Swings back down to Savannah Sullivan. Sullivan through the middle again. And it's Holly Sullivan now. Looking for a receiver. Swings back to Savannah. Savannah and Sarah Mogg having to play reset with each other. Looking for any little bit of space downfield. Atlanta still in zone, but a different zone look than they've had previously. This one much more with a handler sag in the lane, forcing Nashville to be patient and swing among all the receivers, just waiting for an opening downfield. Holly Sullivan up to Savannah. Savannah now trapped sideline. She's going to shoot it deep. Asta Thurman running deep and catches it in the end zone. What a throw from Savannah Sullivan.
What a great look. That was one of those where you put it up and tell your defender where to go.
I'm not sure Asta Thurman knew that ball was meant for her, but as soon as it went up, she tracks it down for the score, and Nashville with the hold, 9-6, our score. What a fantastic offensive possession for Nashville there, Jenny.
That's right. A lot of patience with the handler set. Mogg and Sullivan, former UAH Terror teammates, moving the disc together very well and waiting for that perfect opportunity for that deep shot.
Great vision from Savannah Sullivan there. One of the faster players on Nightshade, but having to do a lot of handling for this team as well, due to that chemistry that you were talking about with some of the other Huntsville ladies. This Nashville team comprised of a lot of different pockets of players from different cities. And so Coach Jared Trevor was telling us that he's really trying to keep those players together to maximize chemistry on the field. The Atlanta O-line going to look to hold 9-6 our score. The pull from Kate McAfee will sail just out of bounds, and it'll be Quincy Booth bringing it up to the brick mark. .320 left here in our second quarter. A highlight-filled first half with layout scores and blocks from both teams. Booth looking upfield. A big under from Martha Wilbur. Surveys her options and hits a reset to Mia Greiner. Greiner back to Wilbur. Wilbur still looking downfield. Back to Greiner. Downfield cutter's doing a great job of applying pressure for Nightshade. Back up to Greiner. Greiner with a push pass and a misconnect with Elimelech. And a short field turnover for Atlanta Soul as Nashville will look to convert. An inside throw up to Anna Lee, unguarded. It's Chandler Shelton. A hand block, but saved by Anna Lee. Anna Lee now over to Stacy Liu. And a timeout call from Coach Jared Trevor.
Another prescient timeout call.
Ginny, the amount of tipped passes that end up still caught by a different receiver are blowing my mind. Was that the third or fourth time that's happened so far this game?
And that's just playing heads up. That's just keeping your head on a swivel, always knowing where the disc is. That's smart play.
Always follow the play. And Nashville will sub on the O-line to punch in a break right before half. An unfortunate drop there from Elimelech. It was a bit of a knuckleball from Mia Greiner trying to push pass to the break side. Dina unable to hold on to it. And it gives Nashville the disc with about 30 yards to go for the break. Both teams subbing on.
Nashville setting up in their vertical stack, kind of angled back in the end zone there to create lots of cutting space downfield.
Sarah Mogg with the disc. Nashville in a traditional vert stack. Savannah Sullivan on the upline, shooting for the end zone. Bang! Finds her sister-in-law, Holly Sullivan, with the goal. And a unique celebration as well. Flip. The family celebration. The shot from Savannah Sullivan to Holly Sullivan for the goal and the break. 9-7.
And if you're Nashville, this is exactly what you want. Going into the end of this half, you want to carry that momentum.
Trying to hang around.
Get back a few of those points that you gave away.
We've mentioned the game of runs, and Nashville with a run of their own to get back within 2 here. A great play call off the timeout there as well, Ginny. So Nashville will be back on D. 2:20 left in our first half. The Atlanta offense back out onto the field now. A few players having to cross over. A few of those offensive players for Atlanta on that D line. Pull from Kate McAfee. Will be caught by Elimelech, who centers up to Liv Ford. Ford now looking downfield. A sweep play from Atlanta will be caught in the middle of the field. Morgan Lally looking downfield now. Lally resets to Ford. Ford and Lally playing give-go with each other in the reset space. Up the field, number 22, Gustafsson. Gustafsson swings it. Gets swung down now to Lally. Lally upfield. And a deep shot going up just out of reach of the receiver. Dana Bedeau shooting for the end zone, unable to connect. Nashville will have a look now with about a minute and a half left in the first half at another break. Attempting to bring it within one. Noodle with the disc now. Looking downfield. Gonna shoot it deep. Stall count was rising, and we get a block downfield. Number 5, Megan Jarrell with the block. I believe there was a stall call on the mark before the throw. It will be contested, so it will stay as a turnover down the field. Observer's going to get together and confirm.
And our observers conferred, and it was in fact contested foul, or contested stall count. We'll take the disc downfield.
It'll be Liv Ford picking up the disc at about the midfield mark. Elimelech now, middle of the field, directing her receivers. And an inside throw misses the mark. Noodle picking up the disc now. Swings over to Kate McAfee. McAfee looking downfield.
And again, no time crunch here. There's no buzzer beater rule, so Nashville can take as long as they need to score this point.
Down to Noodle.
Call downfield.
Callie Wickland with the undercut and resets back to Noodle. There's a call downfield, I believe a pick call. Trying to reset, I believe, our clock on the stadium, so we will wait for that before resetting play. Some confusion on our clock scoreboard here in-house.
Giving both teams a chance to catch their breath here.
We will reset to 23 seconds. So we have 23 seconds left in our first half. Disc tapped in. It'll be Gross. Swings up to Kate McAfee. McAfee looking downfield now. Finds Bree Snipes. Snipes looking upfield. Chandler Shelton on the far sideline. And an uncontested foul. Defender unable to stop her momentum. It'll be Chandler Shelton tapping it in up the field. Far sideline resets over to McAfee. A nice snag in the middle of the field now. And an inside throw that pops up. Buzzer sounds, and it will be D'd by Atlanta. There is a foul call, I believe.
It's like a foul call on the throw. And uncontested.
Oh, on the throw. Yes, it was. So it will be Nashville disc. This will be the final possession of the first half, regardless of outcome. Nightshade attempting to get a break to end the first half here. Deep shot going up immediately. Pops over the head and caught! Callie Wickland with her first goal of the afternoon for the break.
Great find by McAfee there. We saw one of the Nightshade teammates running down the sideline trying to get her attention to let her know that there was an open cutter. And it all worked.
Kate McAfee with her third huck of the game, all successful, and your score at halftime, 9-8 in favor of Atlanta. Ginny, what a first half.
What a first half.
Some back and forth excitement, some huge plays from each team. This has been an exciting game so far.
A lot of energy from both teams, a lot of big plays. And we've seen a lot of runs back and forth, runs of 2 and 3, 4 points to make this a really tight match.
So our score, 9-8, Atlanta. Both teams doing a really good job of getting breaks.
Stick around here during the half. We're going to take about a 10-minute half, but we will be talking with both coaches. So hang on. We're going to get you an interview, an exclusive interview.
Exclusive interviews with head coach Jared Trevor of the Nashville Nightshade and Evelina of the Atlanta Soul. Evelina Pierce, excuse me.
And we're back. Our apologies for the technical difficulties. I think a lot of you on the live stream were able to watch our coach interviews, but perhaps not hear their insightful interview answers.
I'm sure they said great things. Nashville on offense to start the second half. Sarah Mogg in the middle of the field swings down to Holly Sullivan. Atlanta back in their junk zone. Nashville doing a good job staying patient and resetting the disc. Up to Anna Lee. Lee to Sullivan. Sullivan now down to Grace Robinson. Out past the defense of Atlanta. Atlanta staying in their junk look. Nashville doing a good job getting it into the middle of the field. Grace Robinson unmarked. Looking for a receiver. Finds it in Sullivan. Gets the upline. She gets hand blocked. Number 17, Christina Tuna with the hand block. Puts Atlanta on offense. Marie Privier looking downfield and Atlanta moving quickly. Seeing if they can start this second half off with a break. Up to Danny Ortiz. Ortiz over to Carver. Carver looking deep. Finds an underneath it to a sliding Perivier who shoots deep for the end zone. Holly Sullivan with the block. Nice heads-up defense there downfield. And it will be Holly bringing the disc up on the corner. Atlanta, 4 defenders in front of all of the Nashville handlers, forcing them to swing it high and wide, 5 yards deep into their own end zone, or more than. Down to Anna Lee. Lee back to Sarah Mogg, trying to point her receivers where she wants to see them. Savannah Sullivan now standing at the back of her own end zone. Over to Holly Sullivan, up the field to Grace Robinson. Nashville doing a good job getting past the middle of Atlanta's defense. Atlanta staying in it, though. Up to Anna Lee, a nice grab. She'll throw a few pump fakes and eventually swing down to Sarah Mogg. Mogg to Sullivan. Some contact on the mark between Space Force teammates, Sullivan and Paige Carver. Sullivan over to Rebecca Fagan. Atlanta doing a really nice job of just putting consistent pressure on Nashville.
Ooh, Ortiz almost got a hand on that one.
Ortiz with a jumping attempt, but just misses it. Allows Nashville to gain about 20 yards. Looking downfield. Another close attempt from Atlanta, unable to get it, and a nice grab from Anna Lee. Lee up to Fagan. Fagan with a nice inside fake, opts not to throw it. Up to Savannah Sullivan on what has to be her 20th touch of the point. Sullivan looking downfield, resets it to Grace Robinson. They'll do give-go action with each other. Savannah with the around backhand to Holly. Holly up the field, looking for Anna Lee, and and a bobble that leads to a block. And a great look for a great look for Nashville. Ends in a turn, and it will be Atlanta's disc. A great cut and throw there from Anna Lee, just unable to secure the goal. Atlanta now looking downfield. Charlotte Doran, apologies. And an upfield throw is a drop. Number 17, I believe that's Tuna with a drop. And it'll be Nashville's disc close to their own red zone. A quick upfield throw to Grace Robinson. 5 yards out from the goal now. A cross-field flick blade finds Savannah Sullivan in the end zone.
What a great find.
To tie this game at 9. And what a start to the second half for the Nashville O-line.
Atlanta with a great defensive point there. Their zone had Nashville pushed all the way to the back of their end zone, but Nightshade didn't panic. They worked the disc down the field and punched it in for the goal.
So Savannah Sullivan, her first goal of the afternoon on a great crossfield flick blade over the top of the defense to tie this game at 9-9. Jenny, I think we're in for a treat in this second half.
I'm interested to see who comes out of that halftime rest feeling amped up, feeling ready to play. We talked to Coach Evelina Pierce for the Soul before the game, and she talked about how important it was going to be for her players to manage their bodies, manage the heat, manage their hydration, and manage their state of mind to be able to stay in this game and play through the elements.
The pull from Kate McAfee downfield. Atlanta on offense up to Quincy Booth. Nashville back in there. Poach. Defense. Booth with a bobble and a drop. Nashville with the chance to take their first lead of the afternoon, and it'll be McAfee with the disc. McAfee up to Tori Radcliffe. Radcliffe looking downfield. Throws to two receivers, and that gets blocked. Hawkins down to Griner. Griner looking downfield. The Atlanta players confusing us in the commentator booth because Griner, normally the one with the pink headband bow, and this time it is Claire Hawkins with the pink bow in her hair. Hawkins shooting downfield, does find Griner. Griner now in the red zone. Nashville trying to get some pressure on. Tori Radcliffe unable to get the block down to Hawkins. Hawkins now 5 yards out, over to Booth. Booth with an around flick, finds Elimelech.
Quincy Booth with such great field vision and the ability to put the disc wherever she wants it to go.
So Atlanta with the goal to take the 10-9 lead.
Quincy Booth, a product of the Atlanta high school scene that has been so successful in years past, that's really pumping out some great talent.
Nightshade O-line back out onto the field in our 1-point game. We'll see what defensive adjustments Atlanta makes after the Nightshade O-line has seemed to figure out the zone slightly. Chance of hammer pull again coming around the stadium.
This crowd definitely rested and got hydrated during halftime. They're coming out in the second half with a lot of energy.
Liv Ford does not take the bait and gets a nice downfield pull. That will be centered over to Sarah Mogg. Atlanta opting now for their lane poach zone that they used a couple different times in the first half. Mogg and Holly Sullivan doing a good job with give goes and up and through cuts from the handler reset space. A Scuba fake does not go off, swings over to Savannah Sullivan. Sullivan up to Lee. Lee to Holly Sullivan. A deep pump fake. Looking reset, finds it in Holly Sullivan. The Atlanta Cup doing a good job continuing to follow the disc.
The Nashville throwers really moving, using those big pump fakes, trying to get the defense to move, but the Cup not taking the bait.
Cup doing a good job moving as a unit, forcing Nashville to stay on that sideline. A nice lefty over the top to get it over to Anna Lee. Nashville, a good job to get it to the far side of the field and flip the field. A scuba over the top, caught by Rebecca Fagan. Fagan up the field to Grace Robinson now. Now Nashville getting ahead of this Atlanta zone. Looking middle of the field. Finds Lee. Lee over to Robinson. Robinson looking downfield now as Nashville enter into their red zone offense. Holly Sullivan over to Rebecca Fagan. Fagan unmarked. Big pump fake. Looking for a receiver. Finds it in Sarah Mogg, and she's in. No, she is not. She's outside of the end zone. Just short on the line. Looking for a receiver now. Finds a reset in Grace Robinson. Robinson back to Mogg. And an inside lefty. What a throw from Sarah Mogg. A cheeky inside lefty throw to Anna Lee. Lee, her first goal of the afternoon. What an offensive possession from Nightshade there, Jenny.
Great work. Everybody touching the disc. Everybody being patient and finding those gaps, those opportunities.
Our score tied once again, 10-10. We will take another heat timeout.
Performance of their own. And we'll take a couple minutes for everyone to grab some shade and some water. The crowd doing their best to stay cool in this hot weather. See lots of umbrellas, some fans.
Jenny, what is your adjustment as Atlanta's coach here? You know, you've thrown a couple different zone looks, a couple different person defensive looks. Nashville starting to find a rhythm between their handlers and their cutters downfield. So what adjustments do you make, you know, as the opposing offense starts to kind of not figure you out, but have some success against something that in the first half was working, now not so much? So what adjustments do you imagine them making over there?
Yeah, so far Nashville hasn't really broken up that zone with big throws. All of their big shots down the field have come off of opportunities where they've gotten it through the zone. So maybe, I mean, they've done a great job of running that really tight cup and keeping it moving back, keeping the disc back with the handlers. You know, keep that tight cup. Maybe you're looking for those shots over the top. They finally started looking for those scuba looks, the little cheeky shots. So maybe drawing up a defender to kind of eat up anything that gets thrown over the top there.
And for Nashville, some great pressure that they've applied, but I feel like they haven't done a whole lot of adjustments to getting blocks. They've capitalized on turnovers from Atlanta, been very successful at that, but they've not generated very many blocks. What's an adjustment that they might be able to make in order to try and take the disc away from Atlanta rather than relying on them to give it to them?
Well, again, I think we can look at the matchups in the transition space. So being really mindful about putting the right people, defending the right people, right? Really putting a lot of pressure on those key players for Atlanta and putting defensive matchups that are going to be able to stay with them.
So Nashville now will be on defense. Our score 10-10. Looking to get another break. I'd like to give a shout out to our 3 observers today, Paul, Neil, and Luca. Appreciate you guys giving your time in support of the PUL today through your observing. And while we're there, shout out to all of our volunteers for helping today. Jenny, they did a great job setting up the stadium and getting different things ready to go for this.
That's right. None of this would be possible without our fantastic volunteers in the Knoxville community. And all of the volunteers for the Nashville Nightshade.
Be Quincy Booth catching the centering pass now for the Atlanta O-line. Shorb doing a good job for Nashville running down on the pull. Callie Wickland on the mark. Booth looking downfield. Finds a receiver. Go back to Booth. Booth up to Martha Wilbur. Wilbur to Griner, and Griner back to Booth. Booth looking downfield now, finds Tori Taylor. Taylor and Booth playing give-go. Booth with a nice high release inside. Up to Wilbur. Wilbur to Elimelech. Wilbur thinks about throwing it back to Dina in the end zone, but doesn't do so. Now with a nice around backhand and finds Griner in the end zone. What a break throw from Martha Wilbur. And Mia Griner with her patented kick spike celebration. We've seen it before, and we will absolutely see it again at some point. In Atlanta with the nice clean hold to retake the lead 11-10.
And the Soul Cutters really doing a great job of creating separation from their defenders, getting looks downfield and keeping the disc moving. I think Nightshade might be able to take some more opportunities for rolls and switches, to kind of work together a little bit more on defense to block off some of these looks.
And Jenny, one note that I'm seeing too on Quincy Booth, the primary thrower for this Atlanta O-line, she has a very long wingspan. And so I think maybe even taking a step off on that mark to try to challenge her lanes a little bit more rather than being right up on her, because she's basically getting any step-out throw that she wants in this matchup. So maybe even giving her a little bit more space on the mark so that you can have a chance to pressure those lanes a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. She's really tough to mark with that over 6-foot wingspan.
And an obviously great thrower. Big pull from the Atlanta D-line here as we see Nashville back out on O. See if they can continue the success that they've had so far in the second half. 3:50 left here in our third quarter. Atlanta back in their junk zone now. Sarah Mogg with the disc. Mogg looking for options. Back to Holly Sullivan playing in a 5-yard box here. Up to Savannah Sullivan, middle of the field. Nashville's cutters working hard to try to find a crease. And an over-the-top great throw from Grace Robinson. She's going to shoot it deep, looking for Rebecca Fagan. Fagan comes down with it and is going to launch it to Holly Sullivan. She's going to be 2 yards short of the end zone. Fagan now following the play. Holly looking for anybody. Finding a toe-tapping Sarah Mogg.
What great field awareness by Sarah Mogg there to know, oh, I got to toe it in here.
What a play from Sarah Mogg. Not as comfortable as they would have liked, but a nice clean hold for the Nashville offense to tie our game again, and the twinkle toes celebration from Sarah Mogg there. A much better possession there from Nightshade of being patient in the reset space, but then just waiting for the right shot to take over the top.
And the Nightshade coaches talked before the game about how to attack this zone. And, first looking through the middle, then swinging side to side. And then when those fail, when Atlanta's figured out a way to take those away, now the looks over the top.
Sarah Mogg doing a little bit of everything that point as a handler and as a cutter. A great cut and catch from Rebecca Fagan in the deep space there as well. On that injured hand from the first half, did not seem to be a problem there on that point. The Nashville D-line back now. These teams trading punches here in the second half. It'll be Booth and Hawkins in the handler space for Atlanta. Up to Elimelech, quickly out to Booth. Booth going to look and shoot it deep. Receiver not ready for it, but is going to track it down anyway. What a throw from Quincy Booth deep to Martha Wilbur, and the quick response from the Atlanta O-line. What a shot.
A great read there by Wilbur to try to gain that disc, figure out where it is, and get a good read on it.
Wilbur was, I don't believe, ready for that pass to come, but once she found it in the air, able to track it down in the end zone. Nothing the defender was able to do. And a great offensive possession from Atlanta. Jenny, through 12 goals in this game, that is 10 different Atlanta receivers that have a goal.
That is impressive.
That is efficient offense. Sharing the love all around on offense for Atlanta. We'll see if Nashville is able to apply any pressure. We talked about them taking away some of the superstars. I feel like they've done a good job of that, but it has been an across-the-board success so far for the Atlanta offense of really everybody contributing.
That's right. Some big names that we expected to be calling out a little bit more, but everybody, like you said, sharing the love.
A great bid on defense by Marie Pruvier is not successful there. Deep shot going up. Holly Sullivan looking for Grace Robinson. Lots of contact downfield and a nice block from Atlanta there. Trying to get a number on that defender. I believe that is number 5, Megan Jarrell. So Atlanta now. A nice catch up the field. Atlanta looking to break. Back to the middle of the field is Jarrell. And a miscommunication. Unsure which receiver she was looking for there, but just overshoots. And it'll be Holly Sullivan picking up the disc. Nashville back on offense, looking to tie this game. Finds a downfield receiver in Grace Robinson. Robinson surveying her options. Throws an inside shot over to Asta Thurman. Thurman finds her reset in Lee. A pick call. The receivers disagree. Unsure if the defender was close enough to be able to make a play on it, but still a pick nonetheless. We'll see if the disc stays or goes back. It will stay with Anna Lee. She taps it in up to Savannah Sullivan. Sullivan up the line to Lee. Lee shooting for the end zone. Rebecca Fagan. Double teamed. Defender over the top. We will have a foul call. Defender Morgan Lally in the area. They're going to have a conversation about it. A great help over the top there, Jenny, by the defender. I didn't have the best look at it. Observer ruling no foul. So it will be Atlanta's disc. So a nice D there by Morgan Lally to get the disc back for Atlanta. It'll be Anna. I believe it'll be Anna Gustafson picking up the disc, tapping it in on offense here for Atlanta, attempting to break. 50 seconds left here in our third quarter. A hand block and a nice layout catch, Marie Privier. Privier with an amazing layout catch to save possession, and then a quick drop. Nashville right on the goal line and punches it in.
Great work by Nashville to take advantage of that quick turn.
What a turn of events. Jenny, this game is just a mix of highlights and then lowlights from both teams as we have like amazing layout catches and then unfortunate drops. Nashville doing a great job there, taking advantage of the short field turnover, punching it in immediately to tie this game up.
Yeah, I think a couple of throws from Nashville that hung a little further in the end zone than they wanted to, and some great defense.
Holly Sullivan with the assist there. Holly Sullivan with her third goal of the afternoon. .30 seconds left here in the third quarter. Just a reminder of the PUL end of quarter rules. It is play to the end of the possession. So even if the clock runs out here, they will play the possession out. It will be Mia Greiner taking the disc at the brick for the Atlanta O-line. Our score 12-12, an exciting second half thus far. Greiner up to Quincy Booth. Booth shooting immediately, looking for Dana Elamelek, and she's going to come down with it in the end zone for the score, and that is too easy for the Atlanta O-line.
That's a great put by Booth and a great read by Elamelek there in the end zone.
Booth with back-to-back shots at the end zone to the streaking receiver. And a really quick answer from the Atlanta O-line to take the lead. 13-12. These teams trading punches here in the second half. And Jenny, that's that deep space look that we thought that Atlanta might try to employ in the first half, but they kind of held on to it, kept it in their back pocket until the second half.
That's right. I think they saw how Nightshade was set up there on the defense. Again, maybe a little bit of opportunity there to bracket or to take away that deep shot, but the defender doing a great job of recognizing that defense playing her under and taking off deep.
And it was just a sweep play and a horizontal stack from Quincy Booth, who will cross over to defense now as well. She'll be the one with the pull. Nashville with their O-line back out onto the field. Pull goes up. Holly Sullivan looking to track it down. It'll be her disc on the sideline. Atlanta doing a great job of getting down on the pole, covering, and backing Nashville all the way up to their goal line. Up to Savannah Sullivan now. Sullivan, an inside lefty, over to Anna Lee. Lee continues it down. Nashville doing a good job cutting into the open space, taking what the defense is giving them. Smog looking downfield. This will be the final play of the third quarter. Lee looking for a cutter, is going to reset it. Atlanta has fallen out of their zone now into a person defense. Swing up to Rebecca Fagan. Fagan looking for receiver. Finds it in Grace Robinson. Robinson looking downfield. Doesn't like what she sees. Forced to throw a wide swing, but finds it. A nice grab off the turf. Savannah Sullivan. Another lefty to Rebecca Fagan. Fagan going to shoot it deep. Looking for Anna Lee. It's going to float and get knocked down to the turf. Number 5, Megan Jarrell with the D to end our third quarter. And it will be a 1-point game going into the fourth quarter here, Jenny. An interesting third quarter, very different from our first half. Lots of turnovers in the first half that led to long defensive points. This quarter, much more about the offensive flow and then deep shots, Jenny.
Yeah, we've seen some big plays this half. Clearly, they're trying to be more aggressive on defense, trying to open up the field with those big, long shots. We've seen a lot of contested catches in the end zone.
And founded in 2020, Discover Diversity creates spaces where Black players can show up fully, play freely, and experience a genuine sense of belonging, especially within Ultimate Frisbee. Through international events and playing opportunities, we center community, leadership, and joy while celebrating the talent and resilience of Black players. Our goal is to expand access, champion collaboration, and inspire the next generation of athletes. Discover Diversity. One more quarter in our game this afternoon, Jenny. So many exciting plays and highlights. I'm excited to see how they finish this one out.
This is going to be a great quarter. I'm so excited. This is such a close game. I think if you're Nashville, you are very excited for the game to be this close. At no point have they played or looked like felt like they've been out of the game, right? Even when they've been down 3 or 4 goals, mentally, physically, they've been present, and they've been able to fight their way back. So great work by the Nashville team and by the Nashville coaching staff to keep their players engaged here.
A lot of mental resilience for a team. You know, they lost last time they played earlier this season, Jenny. It was 22-5. So you go down 9-5 in this game. It starts to look like Atlanta may pull away, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's 9-9. And the resiliency from Nashville to fight back, defensive pressure to increase, taking the right shots to get back in it. And I think that's more about Nashville playing well than it is Atlanta playing poorly. I feel like Atlanta's offense still playing very well. They're getting a lot of blocks on the Nashville O-line. I think it's just a matter of Nashville making just slightly less mistakes over that run to get them back in it.
Absolutely. I think Nashville's done a great job of kind of forcing Atlanta out of their game plan, but Atlanta has adapted well. They're moving the disc around, a lot of different people touching the disc, a lot of different people contributing today. And as a coach, that's what you ask for from your team, right? Everybody can step up when they're needed for the team.
And a lot of different players have, in fact, stepped up for this Atlanta team. You know, we mentioned earlier 10 different players with goals for this Atlanta team. So a very well-balanced offensive effort for them. But Quincy Booth has stepped up in this second half. Back-to-back deep shots for scores. One a flick, one a backhand. So she has found her way all over the field, both with her legs and her throws. So they're going to have to, Nashville going to have an answer for her in the handler space in this second half. See if they're able to corral her in a little bit.
And we're going to see here, too, in the final quarter of this game, how the heat's really going to take a toll. So who has been taking care of themselves? Who's been planning ahead? Who's been training to play in this heat?
Hydration definitely going to be a factor as well. As hot as it is up here in the booth, Jenny, I can only imagine what it feels like down there on the turf. It feels like, Jenny, every time, no matter what the other games have happened, and this is maybe my biased opinion, but every time Nashville comes to Knoxville, I feel like they put on the absolute best performance that we have seen from them so far that year.
I think you're right. No bias here.
That's right. Last year we had the game against Raleigh Radiance. It was, I believe, a 3-point game final, or maybe 4, might have been 4. Year before, they beat this Atlanta team here in town. We appreciate that. We appreciate putting on a show for our Knoxville fans.
That's right. We've got the best fans around. They deserve a good game.
That's right. We love our Knoxville fans. We love the Nashville Nightshade.
And shout out to several people who have traveled to Knoxville for the game. I see some faces in the crowd who've made the drive.
Absolutely. Some Alabama friends. We've got, I believe, I see a lot over from Nashville, some up from Chattanooga. Nice to see a lot of representation here. So we'll see what adjustments both teams make going into the fourth quarter. Trading a lot of points back and forth, a lot of different strategy changes defensively for both teams. Atlanta having run 2 different zone looks, as well as a person defense that has switched forces a couple different times. Nashville having run a primarily person defense, but they've also thrown a couple different lane poach, lane sag looks out there. We'll see if either team is able to slow down the other's offense. It will be Nashville coming out on defense to start our fourth quarter. Defensive coordinator Isaiah Mason. I was told he ate a 3-day-old milkshake prior to this game to fire himself up.
That's one way to do it.
We'll see if that helps in this heat. Nashville will be on defense. Looks like we are getting a new disc for this point.
And big shout out to West High School, too. What a great facility here. Right in the middle of Knoxville.
Not the first Ultimate event they've hosted for us either.
That's right.
Hosting some Smoky Mountain Invite college games for us over the years. So 12 minutes left to decide our winner this afternoon. A great game thus far between Atlanta Soul and Nashville Nightshade. As we'll see the pull go up once again from Kate McAfee. A roller this time. Going to roll about 20 yards before it's stopped by the Atlanta Cutters. It will be Mia Greiner tapping it in on the sideline. Immediately finding a receiver downfield who's going to shoot it deep. Once again, looking for Dana Elamelek. She will find it 1 yard short of the end zone. Looking for options and finds it in Paige Carver. Atlanta once again shooting it deep to Dana Elamelek. And she will get the assist to Paige Carver. Carver, her second goal of the afternoon.
Looked like there may have been a little confusion there on the D-line for Nashville on who was matched up against whom. A little slow to get down and get a mark on, left a wide open receiver right off the bat. So a few things to clean up here for the D-line. But we'll see the O-line come out and see what they can do against Soul's defense.
And Jenny, once again, the Discraft Ultra Star is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. So Atlanta with the hold to start this fourth quarter and go up 14-12 our score. The Nashville O-line back out on the field, who has played very well this second half. Marie Privier on the pole. Goes out of bounds almost immediately. She's trying to will it back in. It does not come back in. So Nashville will start this possession in their red zone. An unfortunate mistake by Marie Privier on the pull. It'll be Sarah Mogg with the disc in the middle of the field, about 20 yards to go. Nashville already in red zone, vertical stack, hitting a reset to Holly Sullivan, looking downfield. The lefty looking for a reset, finds it in Sarah Mogg, who hits a continue break shot to Savannah Sullivan. Continue throw, Anna Lee on the bid. Oh, and just short. Off the fingertips is Anna Lee looking for the layout grab, and she's just short of the goal. The Atlanta D-line now.
Great defense downfield by Atlanta to force that risky throw.
Charlotte Durin over to Marie Privier, who's going to shoot it deep. Finds a receiver in Tori Taylor. Multiple people in the area. Tori Taylor comes down with it out of the pile. And a timeout call for Atlanta to sub on their O-line. It's unfortunate, Jenny. Nashville with a chance, a really good look at it, just unable to capitalize. We're going to take a brief timeout for a friction ad. So coming out of the timeout here, it will be the Atlanta O-line attempting to punch in another break. Not an insurmountable deficit, Jenny, but if you go down 3 with 10 minutes to play, that is an uphill climb for the last little bit of this game.
That's right. This is definitely not a position that Nashville wants to put themselves in right now.
We'll see how strong the D-line is able to stop Quincy Booth, Marie Privier, Dana Elimelech. Seems like as this game goes on, Elimelech getting stronger, and immediately they're shooting it deep to Dina Elimelech. Looking at the end zone, a yard out now. Quincy Booth on the up line, and what a block! Callie Wickland.
What a great D.
Gaining ground, and immediately she's running deep. What an effort play by Callie Wickland. Kate McAfee going to try to shoot it to Callie. And it's going to work. Not the intended receiver, but finding it in Stacy Liu. Nashville now on the counterattack. Kate McAfee once again with the disc. Nashville with the chance at a very important hold here. This is their D-line now, and they will call a timeout to sub their offense back out onto the field. And Jenny, how about this?
Wow. This is quite the development here.
Just when it looked like Atlanta was going to punch in the break on back-to-back uplines from Dana Elimelech and Quincy Booth, Callie Wickland just comes up with the block out of nowhere to the break side. What a high-effort play.
And then immediately sprinting deep to draw the defense. Very heads-up play.
And when you're playing with house money, Kate McAfee said, why not try and get it to her? And Stacy Liu playing the extra coverage, able to catch up to that one. So the Nashville O-line back now on the field to punch in the dirty hold. 20 yards to go. It'll be Grace Robinson picking up the disc. Atlanta choosing to leave most of their players on the field. And we'll see what play call the Nashville O-line has drawn up out of that timeout. Looking for a receiver. Stall count rising. Grace Robinson and a round throw to Holly Sullivan on the near side now. Grace Robinson looking to the end zone. Chooses a swing. Sarah Mogg. Mogg now middle of the field. Handlers doing a good job playing give-go with each other, looking for a receiver. Finding it in Holly Sullivan. 2 yards to go now. Looking at the end zone. Inside throw, a diving catch.
Wow.
Anna Lee swimming on the turf. And Nashville with the dirty hold to bring our score back to a 1-goal deficit. What a crucial hold for Nashville there, Jenny. What an unbelievable catch from Anna Lee.
That was a tight window, and she managed to scoop it up off the turf.
What a throw and catch, and what resilience from the Nashville O-line to look for their third, fourth, and even fifth options. So Nashville now back on D. Still needing a break to bring this game level. 14-13 our score, 9:20 to play. Pass centered now, middle of the field. An immediate call. I believe a pick call, but we will catch up anyway. Excuse me, the defender will catch up, but the disc will stay with Dina Elimelech. Elimelech now looking downfield, finding Marie Privier. Privier near sideline. Unguarded. Martha Wilbur with the disc over to Privier. Privier up the field now. Up to Charlotte Doran. Doran to Privier. Privier up to Dina. Dina looking reset. Trying to tell her cutters where she wants them to go. Paige Carver now on the goal line. And an upline cut. Charlotte Doran with the goal. Atlanta doing a great job working it up the field.
And Atlanta here not getting rattled. Coming out and sticking to their game plan here.
And a nice, easy possession for Atlanta there, working it downfield. Getting a lot of good uplines. And staying patient. Nashville O-line will come back now. 15-13 our score. As you said, Jenny, Atlanta not bowing out despite the pressure from Nashville. They're kind of leaning in and getting as many uplines as the defense has given them. Charlotte Doran with the goal for Atlanta. It'll be Marie Privier staying on the field for the D-line. Atlanta crossing a lot of their players over between lines to try and close this one out. Trying to ride the hot hands. And it will be Privier on the pull. This one going near the sideline, and it's going to go out of bounds. So the pull will be centered again for Nashville. It will be Sarah Mogg with the disc, already beyond half field. Currently unmarked as well. This disc is tapped into play, looking reset. Savannah Sullivan with the disc now. Handler weave movement here from Nashville. Up the field, Rebecca Fagan. And forgive me, I gave Anna Lee credit for the layout goal earlier. I do believe it was Rebecca Fagan who had the layout goal a moment ago. And a turnover. Liv Ford now with the disc for Atlanta, and she'll throw it away. Nashville and Atlanta trading throwaways here. 7:30 left to play. Sarah Mogg with the disc. Up to Asta Thurman. Thurman looking downfield. She'll look reset. Fantastic reset defense there from the Atlanta defender, Dana Bedeau. Holly Sullivan now. Back to Anna Lee. Lee looking for Sarah Mogg near the end zone. Little too high, and it's going to go out of bounds. And an injury call. for Sarah Mogg.
A couple of unforced errors here for both teams. I think we're really starting to see the effects of the heat in this long game.
Legs and cramps going to start to play a factor over this last 7 minutes. Liv Ford picking up the disc. Ford looking downfield, has a cutter, decides not to shoot it. Hits a swing instead that is just missed by the defender. Down the field now, Dana Bedeau. Bedeau back to the middle of the field. Ford and Anna Gustafsson playing give-go. It's up to Tori Taylor now. Taylor up to Morgan Lally. Lally looking downfield, finding Dana Bedeau. Nashville on defense, starting to fall a step behind. Tori Taylor with the disc, middle of the field. Atlanta with 2 deep receivers. Tori Taylor with the disc. Taylor up to Marie Perivier. Perivier faking a couple flicks, opts for the around backhand. Lally and Perivier playing give-go in the middle of the field now. Inside flick. Unfortunate drop. Dana Bedeau gives it right back to Nashville. Long point here. As an immediate send deep. Looking for Callie Wickland. I don't think she was ready for it.
Not a bad thought, but the cutter and thrower not on the same page there.
And the longer this point goes on, it's going to be more a battle of attrition than it is anything else. And we have a foul call on the throw here, Jenny. Savannah Sullivan and Tori Taylor having a conversation. An animated one at that. And I believe this is going to be a contested foul. Observers going to get together and talk about it. I could only tell from their hand movements, but it looks like Savannah arguing that her hand was hit on the throw. Observer ruling, I believe, just either a contested foul or they're accepting the foul call. Either way, it's coming back. I believe it will just be a contested foul call. So it will return to Savannah Sullivan. And that's a fortunate break for Nashville to get that disc back and have another look to punch this one in. 5.5 minutes to play. Grace Robinson with the disc now. Robinson back to Savannah Sullivan. Sullivan to Holly Sullivan. She throws an around throw to Callie Wickland. Wickland near sideline. Up to Holly. Holly, a left-handed player, and that has used that a lot in this game to get open inside looks. She hits a nice around to Anna Lee. Anna Lee over to Grace Robinson, who is unable to bring it in. And Robinson going to call an injury. A deep look, but it's going to come back anyway, as there was an injury call well before that throw. Grace Robinson dealing with some cramps now. Jenny, the longer these points go on in this fourth quarter, the harder it is to kind of stay on the field and keep your energy.
That's right. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the heat right now outside about 87 degrees, but down on that field, closer to 100.
And on a multi-turn point like this, it's going to be more about who has the legs and who doesn't. A couple of these Atlanta players have played a large majority of the points in the second half. Quincy Booth, Marie Perivier having played many, many points. It will be Perivier picking up the disc. Upline, Liv Ford. Liv Ford shooting for the end zone. Looking for Tori Taylor. And it's D'd by Savannah Sullivan. What a deep block from Savannah. A good look from Liv Ford, but unable to get it far enough in front of the receiver. And Savannah Sullivan able to track it down on D. Holly Sullivan bringing the disc up now.
Becca Fagan calling to shorten the stack. I think they're looking to make sure they have some deep cut opportunities here.
Cutter's getting pretty far away from these handlers. Bree Snipes, haven't heard from her much in the second half. Looks like she still has the legs as she tries to clear up the sideline. Inside throw from Holly Sullivan goes just too far for the diving Asta Thurman. Unable to hit her. And it'll be Quincy Booth now Timeout call from Atlanta.
We see on long points like this the temptation to pick up the disc and try to get a big chunk of yardage from a big throw. Some good looks, some not so great looks on the deep throws, but definitely, I think, some mental tiredness going on here in the heat.
And this live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today. And Breakmark. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops.
We see a lot of the crowd here today rocking their Breakmark jerseys.
A lot of player sponsorship jerseys, replica jerseys, hats, shorts, sweatpants, gloves, jackets, tanks.
Hopefully no jackets today.
That's a good point. Sun hoodies. There we go. So this long point at 15-13 has taken about 4 minutes of game time off the clock. It will be Quincy Booth picking up the disc, seeing if they can punch in the break. Booth immediately with the inside look. Ellie Mellick now with the around throw. Charlotte Doran looking for options. Booth up to Mia Griner. Griner now inside of her red zone. Around up the field shot and finds the receiver. It's Charlotte Doran punching in the break. And Jenny, that one has to feel like a backbreaker for Nashville.
It does. That was a marathon. They expended a lot of energy in that point, and more importantly, a lot of game clock.
Had a lot of good chances and good looks, but it's Atlanta that comes out on top in that point in the end. 16-13 our score. 3-goal deficit for Nashville with 3.5 minutes to play. We'll see what kind of energy and legs Nashville has, or what they might have left in the tank, as I believe we enter another heat timeout here.
That's right. And if you're Nashville, at this point, not only do you have to score, but you've got to score quick. You have to be efficient on offense. So we'll see. We might see them come out here with some big plays off the PUL to try to get things moving and try to eat up some of those yards.
Gonna have to move quickly. You have to ride that difficult balance, Jenny, of we need to score quickly, but we also can't afford to get out over our skis and give a nasty short field turnover either.
That's right.
It's a tough balance. We'll see what the coaching staff for Nashville is able to draw up on offense here. Should be our final heat timeout of the half of the game. I'm sure both these teams are already thinking about the after-game social in some air conditioning. For Nashville, we've also seen a really balanced offensive flow in this second half. A lot of different players getting involved. Grace Robinson hasn't put up many stats in this game, but has done a great job of just maintaining possession for the offense for Nashville.
That's right. The goal here for the Nightshade was to play smart, aggressive offense, to open up the field with some deep shots. I think they've done a great job of executing their game plan here today, and it has kept them in this game.
They absolutely have. 16-13 our score, 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to play in what has been a very exciting afternoon of Premier Ultimate League action. Sunday afternoon. Only one more game for Nashville following this contest. PUL plays 6 games each year, 3 home and 3 away. This is the last home game for Nashville. Some other games happening around the league today. Minnesota traveling to Raleigh to play the Radiants.
Looks like New York Gridlock and Philadelphia Surge. That game just started a few minutes ago. So after this one wraps up, you can hop over to that live stream and watch the conclusion of that one.
That should also be a very, very good game. Both of those teams with multiple wins this year. Both very competitive over the years of the PUL, each with a couple different champ weekend appearances. We'll see our teams come back out onto the field now for the last little bit of this game. We'll see if Nashville is able to go on another run. The Nashville offense having done a fantastic job in this second half of taking the right looks and the right shots, and then as the points get longer, starting to tighten up a little bit and looking a little into tighter windows. The pull goes up. Savannah Sullivan catching it and centering up to Catherine Gilbert. She's going to switch over to the O-line in place of Sarah Mogg, who is not back yet. That is a big hurt to this Nashville O-line. Sarah Mogg with about half the touches for this offense in this game. And what a snag from Rebecca Fagan. I believe Paige Carver arguing that she might have gotten to it first. Both players taking a second to talk about it. And I believe Rebecca Fagan going to give it up. Yes. So it'll be Paige Carver with the block in the middle of the field. Atlanta now on the counterattack. Nashville going to have to work to get this disc back, and quickly Charlotte Duran up to Danny Ortiz. Ortiz, haven't heard from her much in the second half. We'll see if she's able to quarterback this D-line into the end zone. She'll swing it to the far side. Privier. Privier up the field. Duran in the red zone now. A fake Scoober. Looking for a reset. It's Ortiz. Ortiz with the one-handed snag. She'll continue down to Privier. Privier looking for the back corner of the end zone. Holly Sullivan with the block to get the disc back for Nashville. 2 minutes to play. They're going to have to score quickly.
Holly Sullivan coming up with another big block in the end zone.
For the struggles in this fourth quarter of the Nashville O-line, they have certainly continued to fight on defense. It'll be Savannah Sullivan tapping in. She'll swing far. Catherine Gilbert. It'll be Bree Snipes that comes down with it. Gilbert now over to Holly. Holly looking for options. Atlanta doing a really good job of poaching in the lane. Savannah Sullivan going to shoot it deep to Anna Lee. Anna Lee comes down with it. Nashville trying to play transition offense. It's going to be Holly Sullivan. She's going to be running away. Shot doesn't come. Anna Lee now finds her reset. And Savannah Sullivan. Sullivan going to throw it deep again. Does not have a receiver this time. And just a miscommunication downfield between receivers. Nashville, unfortunately, forced to try and get those shots downfield to score quickly. About 63 seconds left to play here. Paige Carver unable to come down with it. Nashville now with a quick chance to look at the end zone, and it's Holly Sullivan with the goal. Holly Sullivan with her fourth goal of the afternoon to make it a 2-goal game.
And a great bounce back by Nashville there.
Atlanta with a couple of good looks, but unable to punch it in, and give credit to Nashville for continuing to fight on defense to get that disc back. Holly Sullivan with the bookends. She gets a big drink of water, and she's going to stay on the field. So Nashville going to have to draw something up here on defense to try and get a quick turnover and a quick score. Nashville does still have one timeout left in their pocket if they are able to get a turn. But a 2-goal deficit here, 55 seconds left to play. We'll see if they have any creative tricks up their sleeve to get a quick turnover. be Kate McAfee again on the pole. She's done a good job of flipping the field today with her poles, trying to pin Atlanta on their half of the field. And this one is no exception. It'll be Hawkins centering up to Quincy Booth. Booth looking downfield, finding an easy deep shot going up. Holly Sullivan guarding Dina Elimelech. It's going to float, and she's going to come down with it. Elimelech looking into the end zone, and what a catch. And then flip into the end zone for the score. Jenny, I think that might do it for our game this afternoon.
That's a great shot. It was very floaty, but that's exactly who you want on the receiving end of that kind of throw.
It absolutely is.
Great positioning, good timing.
All you could do for the Nashville defender. A great box out from Sullivan, but not enough to stop Elimelech.
So the Nightshade O-line will have another chance. One, maybe two more points here.
Needing to score quickly to give themselves another chance at a break. 17-14 our score. And Jenny, if you're Atlanta and with that play call there, you don't have to shoot that disc as time is on your side. But when you have Elimelech deep, it's hard to resist temptation to throw that.
That's a tough one to lay off of. You're right. And it pays off for them in the end zone.
So it'll be Anna Gustafson on the pole. Holly Sullivan up to Catherine Gilbert. Nashville having to move quickly. 30 seconds left now. Oh, and right through the hands of Grace Robinson, just under her fingertips. 20 seconds left now. I imagine this will be the last possession of the game. Pick called downfield. Rebecca Fagan and Charlotte Durin running into each other.
Looks like we'll put a little more time back on the clock.
Yes, we will. And that'll be, it actually is Anna Gustafson with the disc. Or, sorry, I apologize. It's Caitlin Aycock with the disc, who I called Anna Gustafson a minute ago. But it will be Caitlin Aycock tapping it in here for the Soul. 22 seconds left to play. She'll hit an upline to Liv Ford. Ford looking downfield. Finds her receiver, Megan Jarrell. Jarrell up the field, Tori Taylor. Nice toe drag to stay in bounds. Taylor looking to get it off the sideline. Good reset defense from Nashville here. Taylor able to hit the reset around to Durin. This will be the last possession as the horn sounds. Durin over to Jarrell. Jarrell back to Durin, up to Liv Ford. Ford in the end zone now. In the red zone, excuse me. Over to Durin. Foul called. Gives it to her. We will play this point out.
The clock may be at 0, but nobody's ready to concede an inch.
Stats matter, Jenny. And we're going for every one of them today. It'll be Charlotte Durin, center of the field, after the foul call. No contest. Taps it in. Finds Caitlin Aycock. Aycock over to Tori Taylor. Taylor back to Aycock. A nice falling grab there. 5 yards out from the end zone. And finding the receiver in Tori Taylor, who spikes it emphatically to put the cap on this one.
What a great game.
What an awesome afternoon of Frisbee, Jenny. Our final score this afternoon, Atlanta Soul 18, Nashville Nightshade 14. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon from Knoxville, Tennessee. Jenny, real quickly, players of the game. I think for Atlanta, it'd be hard not to say that Dina Elimelech didn't have her hands all over this one. Charlotte Durin as well on the defensive side also played very well. And Tori Taylor, I think, three blocks in 1 point, and then the goal there to end it.
That's right. Quite the exclamation point on her performance today.
So we'll give our player of the game, Tori Taylor, player of the game this afternoon. Multiple blocks and goals. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, Week 7 of PUL action.
Right. You can see Atlanta in action next week. They'll be traveling to Austin, Texas to play the Torch. Nightshade gets a nice long break after this scorcher of a game. They'll play Week 10 against DC on the road.
So thank you for joining us this afternoon. From Knoxville, I'm Jeremiah Branson.
And I'm Jenny Newby.
Have a great one.
All right, I'm here with Atlanta's other coach, Sam. Sam, what adjustments did you guys make at halftime to come out and really dominate in the second half?
We dug in really deep. We knew that we weren't possessing the disc very well on offense, and we tightened up our decision-making, knowing that the heat had a big impact on just legs and exhaustion. So we just really focused on taking that breath before we make a throw and committing to making the right decision with the disc. So.
Excellent. Well, it looks like it really paid off. Congratulations. Any more games for this season? What are your big things for those games?
We have Austin and we have Indy. Austin next weekend, and it's the same thing. We know we've got to be crisp on offense as much as we are pushing on defense, and so we've already started preparing for both of those games. We know those games are going to be fast, and we're looking to dig in deep on our defense. So.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for taking the time, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Good luck on your next games.